All right, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. I hope you guys are ready. All right.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Combo breaker. Hello, everybody.
That cut me off guard. I was expecting you to go for that. I knew you were gonna like turn on a switch.
She's like, how do I build on that?
I don't know how to explain this. When D starts these episodes, you can tell like he's just in a mellow mood, and somehow he's able just to ramp it up and have all this energy. And me, this is just you see is what you get. I don't have a happy or a sad. I'm just this all the time. So when you came in with it, I thought you were gonna start screaming at me, so I had to plug my ears to the hello.
No.
Combo breaker.
I'm D.
This is Lynn.
Project Airwaves.
Hello.
How are you doing, everybody? We've missed you. It's been a minute. This chicken fucker over here has been around the world and back. I think we're gonna change your name to Carmen Sandiego.
Who runs the world, girls?
Stop it.
Who runs the world?
Stop it. I woke up like this?
I woke up like that.
All right, we're going to jump off. We're going to kind of keep it a little light for you today. We got a few talking points, some interesting stuff. Let's go ahead and break the ice, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Sonic 2. Sonic 2.
That was really... I'm sorry. Tourette's kicked in there. I just threw out words. This is really good.
That was really
When did you see it? A week ago, yeah?
Yeah, I saw it about a week ago. We went to for those of you who don't know, I would hope you know if you've been listening to us in an amount of time, but we live in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So we went, it was me, my girl, my kid. We went to the AMC up at Town Square, and it was pretty cool. She pre-ordered the seats. We couldn't find them. It's not like the theater was full, so we pretty much just sat wherever we wanted. It was like that front, that front center.
Yeah.
All of that was taken up, but like the outside and the lower part.
I don't know if
was
you've
empty.
noticed a lot of the ones, because I not forever ago, but I think when Black Widow came out, I went to go see that in theaters and went to Village Square off of...
Oh, yeah.
That movie theater just decided to never update. Because most of the theaters now have recliners. Yeah. They have recliners, and they're more smaller now. You don't have crowds of people. There's a certain amount to a row, because recliners take up more space. That one had the old school chairs, and you don't realize how shitty they were until you've been in there. Like, the entire time in Black Widow, I was like, I just wanted to leave because it was uncomfortable, cold. The seats barely fit your ass. So
they do.
I was like this. I feel like I'm sitting on a plane.
Bro, how did we make you work back then?
Back then, it didn't seem like that was an issue because you were so focused on trying to watch the movie.
They seemed actually more up to date than everywhere else.
Yeah, no, Village Square was garbage.
But we went. It was cool. It was cute and whatever. But I heard your experience was a little bit better.
Well, going back down memory lane, nostalgia, if you have it, is going to the Suncoast. That place is like the land before time.
Cosmic bowling?
Yes, exactly.
You heard of it?
Yeah, you heard it. Ever heard of it?
Heard of it? Yes.
Uncle Farmer Dad Ben. Dude, it was crazy. I was walking in there and I was looking around, and it just I was having flashbacks. Yes. It was like memory lane, like just deja vu of how the stairs are.
We used to live
how
there.
Everything's like coated in like that weird gold.
Gold, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got for some reason where you go to purchase your tickets, behind it there's a window. Yes. Like a window to a house.
Where are you going?
And I'm like, what is this?
Where are you going?
And I'm like, they didn't change any of that.
No.
But then I was reminded that the Suncoast, the people who own Orleans, has the same. They're the same people.
Oh,
I don't
Station
know. Yeah,
Casino?
it's the Station Casino. Fertitas, right? So they kept that style. There wasn't a TGIF there anymore. It was like a sports bar that was right next to the movie theater.
There was a TGIF there?
There used to be a TGIF there.
Whoa.
Everything got remodeled. You can tell that it looks different.
I haven't been to the Suncoast in what? We were, 16? 18?
Really? That long?
Was it 18?
Well,
Bro.
I've been there before then, after then.
I haven't been there since we moved out, and that was 18. So it's been...
It's because there's been, Suncoast was within our vicinity. That was the only casino that wasn't on the Strip. That's true. And then ever since then, you got the Red Rock.
We started going to Santa Fe and Red Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Santa
I remember
Fe,
that.
Red Rock, Orleans.
We got in trouble at the Suncoast a
lot of times. Just because that was just they tried to make it diversity, where kids could, they had the arcade and stuff like that, and the bowling alley.
They really didn't want
There's people running around, and you see it now. The minute you walk in, you can just smell cigarettes because it's an older crowd. It's all older people that all gamble and smoke and stuff. Right. And you notice that the music's turned down. It's way quieter.
No.
It's quieter. So you walk in, you're used to because I worked in a casino for 6 years. It used to be super fucking loud,
especially when it got late.
No, but you go in there, it was I felt like an old person. I was like, it's nice and quiet in this casino.
Oh, that's
I liked
not
it.
Right.
I was and then I go in the theater. The theater's clean. It looked good.
Now that I will give you. So that part I'm interested in.
The theater and I'm putting this out to whoever decides they want to go watch movies. If you go to any movie theater, and this was me being a skeptic when I got there, we were settling on going at the Suncoast just because of the time frame.
Right.
Because we were over in a different part of town near Boca Park.
Right.
And originally we were going to go to Red Rock because, Red Rock's Red Rock. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? Suncoast is playing at 8:10. And I don't want to rush any longer because I know the movie was going to take 2 hours.
2 freaking hours.
But going into there, those recliners were the nicest ones I'd ever been into a movie theater. Not only are they... I'm assuming maybe it's just because they don't get used. Maybe that nobody goes to that movie theater. But it felt like a brand new couch that hadn't been broken in yet.
Yeah.
So they were super soft. They had heat warmers.
Which is amazing.
On the side. And they had the tray table as if you were eating at home.
I think it's just not cool anymore.
What do you mean?
Suncoast.
No, it's
not
that.
cool.
I told you, like I said, it's like grandparents. It's all older people. There's nobody there that is young.
Well, then, I mean, when we were coming up, I don't want to say theaters were limited per se, but I mean, for where we are in like Summerlin, Centennial, North Las Vegas area, we didn't have a ton of theaters.
Those are those are two different parts of town.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like
he said you went from
fine.
No,
because we moved all over the city. Like me and Lynn, we met in Summerlin. Yeah. I moved out to Centennial. Then I moved down to North Las Vegas.
Okay, you're right. I thought you were saying that we live in the vicinity of North Las Vegas and Summerlin. I was like, that's like two different parts of
like
town.
You pull up a map and you just draw a big old circle.
A big old circle.
We live
somewhere in here. And you encircle the whole United States of America. Yeah, we're somewhere in that part of town. I didn't realize that was my fault. Yes, so because you did live off of North Las Vegas, because you were off of Simmons for a little bit.
Yeah, I've moved all over the city, and so it's like, when we were coming up, we didn't have that many theaters. Santa Fe was brand new.
Yeah.
Red Rock was brand new.
Brand new.
Unless you wanted to travel out to either South Coast, AMC over here, or what's that north one?
South Coast, South Point.
South Point, thank you.
South Point.
South Point. What's the one out north?
Aliante.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to drive out to Aliante unless you lived in Centennial.
And then locals don't go to the Strip.
Right. And we weren't going to go to Henderson to go watch a movie. No. So we were always at the Suncoast.
That's like a central spot for
everybody was there, and it was a meeting spot.
You know what I really haven't been to, and I've been next to Suncoast for years, is the Rampart Casino.
Where's that?
It's right next to it. It's the golden building right next to it.
What?
Yeah, it's called the Rampart Casino.
Oh,
it's right next to it. I always thought that was like the hotel version of the Suncoast.
It's the one you hit right before you hit the Suncoast.
If you're coming down Fort Apache.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Never been in it.
I've seen it, but I've never actually been in it. Yeah. And then have you been over to Tivoli Village lately? You see how big they've made
We're going to go walk around Tivoli Village. I haven't been in there yet.
Tivoli Village is really nice.
It looks so small.
Tivoli?
Yeah, like the parking. Like you go inside and it's like...
So the way they have Tivoli built... Sorry, we're going off topic with all this. But when I used to live down the street on
Durango.
Buffalo. It was like Durango or Buffalo and Westcliff.
Yeah.
The Suncoast was the closest casino.
Yes.
So where Tivoli Village is now, that was just dirt.
Yes.
Remember? Because Angel Park would link to that.
Yep.
There'd be a little chain telling you not to go any farther.
Right.
And then it would just be
the golf course.
The golf course didn't exist there. The golf course was on the other side. Remember the tunnel?
Oh, they hadn't expanded
yet. So you remember where Angel Park is, and on the right-hand side there's that tunnel?
Yes.
I used to have to go underneath that tunnel to get to your house until I almost got ran over by a car.
World's scariest tunnel.
Yes. There's like a bunch of homeless people down there.
It wasn't at the time.
Yes, but when I went over to your house, I went through that tunnel, and a truck tried to run me over in the middle of the desert, and that's how I fucking scraped up my hand. Because remember, your mom had to bandage up my fucking hands.
I remember. You showed up with
that's on the right-hand side. I know. I sit down, I'm covered in blood and dirt, and you're like, do you want to play a game? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. And your mom came down and flipped out, like, what happened to you?
Because you weren't going to go home.
No, I walked all over there.
Yeah, it took you like 30 minutes.
It takes like an hour to walk over. Because, damn, it's crazy how old we are. That soccer park wasn't built yet.
No.
And all there was the freeway.
It was a big ditch.
So you can't cross the freeway, so the tunnel was underneath the bridge.
You had to go to Angel Park, walk through the desert, kind of hop over into the golf course.
It's not a desert. What is it? It's like a water...
Gorge?
It's a gorge. It's an overflow gorge when it rains.
But I mean, it was still desert. It was barren.
It's barren, yeah.
The golf course hadn't expanded yet, but they had that tunnel for the golfers to drive through, so we would have to walk through it.
Because the golf course was on the back end.
And it wasn't that long. It was just like you walked in, it got dead silent. The
other
cars
are passing over top of
you. Yeah, the light at the other side just felt like it was getting further away. because you were trying to get closer. It was just a weird.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like a time loop. And then you have to hike up and then go across, and then your house is right over there. So on the left-hand side, you go to the other end of Angel Park, where we took our photos for Project Airwaves. Mm-hmm. That was all just desert. Yes. It was flat, like weird little mountains and hills and stuff. Mm-hmm. Now it's Tivoli Village.
Oh, yeah.
So Tivoli is fucking massive. They built an upstairs, downstairs, underground for it. It got so big, they transitioned it. You remember when I used to work at the Great Indoors?
Yeah, across the street.
The whole backside of that now is a part of Tivoli Village. They ran out of so much space in that spot. There's the street right there, and then they added the rest of it into Boca Park. That's how big it's getting.
That's ridiculous.
So now it's just like you see.
I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very nice. If I ever get a chance, if you get a chance to walk around and go there, it's fancy.
I shouldn't say my issue. We always end up going to downtown Summerlin. Mm-hmm. They got the toy store and stuff.
The downtown Summerlin's cool. Tivoli Village, it's like... It's close for you.
Yeah,
like down the street. It's up the street. So but sorry.
We'll take I
don't even know what the fuck we were talking about.
No, we were talking about Sonic in theaters. Yeah. We were being the old men.
Long story short, because we obviously got more topics to talk about.
Nice theaters.
Theater was cool. Sonic was okay. You de-warned me about it a couple days ago because we had some technical difficulties on our last recording session. But same thing. 6 out of 10.
It was all right for what it was worth.
Yes. They could have done more combat. There could have been more.
I didn't even need the combat. Like I was telling my girl, honestly, you could have had the whole thing built around Sonic, Knuckle, and Tails, full CGI, so much better.
They didn't, like you said, it didn't need to be a live action.
There was no need for any of the live action elements. Jim Carrey was great.
Yes, Dr.
But you could have pulled you could have gone the whole Space Jam concept. Where it's like you have one, maybe 2 live-action people, and the whole rest of the scene is CGI.
But they wanted to bring in all these other people, and you could just see the genuineness of people that aren't used to working in CGI.
Yes.
That when Sonic, when they were in that weird fucking Russian bar...
They didn't know how to look.
People don't know how to act when they're not used to having to talk to something that isn't there.
Right.
Because I've seen, like post-credit things of celebrities saying, you're in Jurassic Park, you're pretending to run from a dinosaur when you know there's nothing behind you, but you have to make it seem like this thing is close.
Right.
When they're seeing Sonic come out and Sonic and Tails when they're out of their costume and they're there, the people are just like, oh, what is this?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they have a dance-off with them, and I'm like...
See, and that's the issue. It kind of feels like the route video games are going with movies nowadays. It feels like they're tech demos. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just like, look what we could do. Look how fancy we can make it look. Mm-hmm. But there's not really much effort put in behind it, because like I said, if you made the whole thing CG, just been about Sonic's Tails and Knuckles, maybe thrown in Jim Carrey as Robotnik, that's cool. He'd have been like the one, maybe 2 live action people
that's
in
all they
there.
Really needed, yeah.
And it would have looked amazing, but it was just like random how they tried to keep blending CGI with the real world, and they had to really force the whole storyline between Cyclops and the girl's best friend.
They didn't need them in there, and they wanted it to be like they're treating Sonic like, oh, they're his kids.
Right.
Or his kid. I'm like,
First of all, we all know Sonic. When we first met, quote unquote, met Sonic with the Sega world, Sonic was a teenager / adult.
Yeah.
From our standpoint.
Yeah.
He was kind of like us. It was like he's getting... So seeing him like this now, I'm thinking of the original Sonic. Mm-hmm. I'm like, he's like an adult. He's like
20s late.
But they're like,
30s.
oh, you're our son.
Yeah.
You're our kid.
And he still acts like a child.
Weird.
So, spoiler alert, since people should already know this by now. Yeah, it's already out by now. The only reason why I really wanted to see it is if they were going to push with it and pull out Shadow. And I showed him the trailer.
I went for Knuckles. I was only slightly disappointed with Knuckles.
So Knuckles did fine. I didn't see the whole thing about... that sounded like Idris Elba just talking.
It was just
him talking normal.
No, it sounded like he had a weird accent.
No,
I know he's
talking.
British.
Yeah.
Okay, we all know he's British. But it sounded like he was trying to be British and country at the same time.
No, he sounded relatively the same.
But also African.
He sounded the same, but I didn't like how they portrayed him to be dumb.
Well,
at the end of it, he was saying literally retarded things.
Yes. Yes. Well, and it was almost like he came from Wakanda.
Yeah.
And it was very annoying. He was like, my tribe, my people, my blah. Okay, I get it. That's cool. You know, that's where you come from. You're an echidna, blah. But it was just like with the whole Robotnik thing, their relationship was weird.
Yeah.
And you can tell right off the bat that Knuckles was going to change.
Yeah.
I at least wanted you guys to at least make me feel like...
To an extent. I didn't notice it until after they had the part where they were fighting on the snow or whatever.
Yes.
And then Knuckles kind of throughout the story, your guardian, whatever, fucked up my clan, and I couldn't see my dad anymore.
But they gave it away earlier in the movie.
When?
So when Robotnik and Knuckles were talking, and Knuckles had said something about honor or whatever, he was regarding Sonic saving Tails. Mm-hmm. And he was like, you know, they have true friendship. You know, that was honor.
Oh, yes.
And Robotnik was like, no.
I remember that.
So then he looked at him sideways. I'm like, yep, he's
it's just a little bit of a hint, which wasn't too bad.
It's a kid movie.
I do like that they were willing to show, because obviously they all had their ability to fucking move fast, but there was never anybody that could outrun Sonic.
No.
And I was worried they were going to make it to where Knuckles was faster.
No.
Or be able to keep up with him.
It was
but
weird.
then you see that he could move
like
as fast as a car, as fast. Suppose Sonic could just fucking get there, and I'm like, okay.
Right. And I was cool with Tails.
Yeah.
I love Tails.
Yeah.
It was like, the whole concept is weird. Sonic being raised by some owl creature, and then him and Tails not knowing each other, like Tails having to travel from across the universe.
I don't know.
Or the galaxy.
I don't know enough about the backstory of that.
I do. Because I watched the cartoons on Saturday morning. Where he
nerd.
was freaking...
I watched the old one when I was a kid.
That one, where they're on their own little planet and he's eating shit. Him and Tails live together.
Yeah,
it almost looked like Namek.
Okay, yeah. That was the old one.
Right, that's the Sonic and Tails I remember.
Now there's just too much going on.
Right now the story's completely changed and it was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm down with it. It's a kid's movie.
If they come out with a third one with Shadow,
I'll watch it.
I will 100%.
I'll watch it. I just wanted to see them introduce the characters.
Yes.
That's all. I wanted to see how how Knuckles was going to be introduced, and I wanted to make sure they stayed.
They even made it look good. The size difference. Knuckles was fucking huge compared to them.
Amazing. When they were falling down that mountain and he punches the rock to stop us all, like, yes, that's Knuckles. Yes.
He's shaking everybody's hand and he's like crushing their hand. Like, oh. But anyways,
moving on. All right, so you've had your chance to get comfortable. We've gotten you warmed up. Time to slide on into the...
Are we going to actual currents, or am I going to talk about what I was doing when I was out of town?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that was a lot.
In the city.
Or should I wait for that for tomorrow?
No, we're going to leave... No.
Next week? On the next episode? Because it can be a lot. I got a lot of shit that I had to cover.
If you want to save it, part 2?
Part 2.
Part 2 número 2?
Part 2 this coming week. Yeah.
We haven't done that in like almost a year.
Yeah, we'll do part 2.
All right, part 2. Lynn's vacation? Lynn's travel?
No.
What do you call that?
All we're going to add it up to is...
torture?
It was, two weeks of just... The first week was cool, and I'll touch base on it when we have our next episode coming up about me having to go to Detroit, Michigan for work for...
Why? Why do you keep saying you work?
It doesn't matter now.
Shut up!
It didn't. It mattered before. It doesn't matter now.
I have to edit that.
Okay. You can keep that going. Yeah, Detroit was was great, and then Tunica, Mississippi was fantastic. I told you it was going to happen. I told you.
But hey, at least my mic didn't break.
Yeah, that's true.
At least my mic didn't break.
This table is not a success. I'm losing like half my sticky thing over here because it's starting
to... We're gonna persevere. We're gonna persevere because I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Okay.
Talk about.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, talk about things?
You go.
Okay. Hugo or you go?
No. I mean, it's not a fun topic.
No, they're not fun topics at all. I don't want to touch on things too much just because obviously shit's constantly fucking changing. We're going into a new time where... Obviously, not to go into detail with it, but the vid's not a thing really at all anymore, which is great. Now, I don't want to.
It's not a buzzword.
I don't want to put it in the ether for myself.
Fine, that's fair, the vid.
But things are changing more or less where, I mean, even with gas isn't that bad anymore, man.
I mean, it's always gone up. It's
never been at 5.
Yes, but at the same time, when we first started driving, and gas was like what, $1.50, $2.
Close to 2, yeah.
You know, we were hearing old people complain. They're like, I remember when gas was 10 cents a gallon, when it was 50 cents a gallon. So I mean, it's never going to stop going up.
No, it'll still continue to rise, which is unfortunate. That rise isn't going to change until the shit in fucking Russia and the Ukraine ends. I don't even know a whole lot about it. The last thing that I heard or saw from it, for people who aren't paying attention, was they're still fighting at it. It's like day 50. It's in the 50s right now?
Yes,
yeah,
it's
and then
ridiculous.
Ukraine had already launched off 2 missiles at their... What was Russia's ship called? It started with an M.
Moskva?
Moskva?
No, not Moskva. Moskva.
Moskva.
Not Moskva. What is wrong with you?
I feel like I should be flexing on that. I don't know. They had a Russian battleship that got sunk into the Black Sea.
Yes. It was big sheep.
But this was just right after that they... damn, I can't pronounce these things at all. K-Y-I-V? Kyiv. Why can you say it so well and I can't?
Because I practice so the right.
Oh, you know, it's because
I want to make sure I sound.
You sound like a mixture of Count Dracula.
You sound like you have nuts in mouth.
Count Chocula versus. That's not Count Chocula. That's the Count from Sesame Street.
I didn't do Count Chocula.
Count Chocula is the guy the cereal.
I just remember him from Robot Chicken. When they were getting on Captain Crunch for shredding the roof of your mouth.
Oh, that was Family Guy.
Was it Family Guy?
Yeah, they said they were getting on him because they said, they're lying. My cereal does not cut the roof of your mouth. And I was thinking about that too. Anytime you eat that cereal, that's
the only time I remember Cow Chocolate. And on Adult Chicken, or Robot Chicken, I just don't remember the episode. He was in there a few times.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yes, keep going.
There's just, like I said, there's an abundance of stuff. With me, to kind of sprinkle in with what I dealt with when I went over to the East Coast. I haven't been to the East Coast in a minute.
I was going to say, you sound like you went to war when I went
overseas. You don't understand. Like, people that come here, I might as well touch up on
this
because there's not a whole lot we can really
mix and match.
I noticed being here in Nevada, we do have the luxury to do a lot more that other states can't.
Yes.
So Detroit is in Michigan,
yes.
and that's more East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize how close we were to Canada.
You're
where that hotel is.
Jump.
It's like behind you,
right?
And you're on the Canadian border.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of seeing all that and realizing like their laws are way different, especially when it comes to going hands on. PD runs everything there, opposed to here in Nevada. You're as a private citizen, you can do a lot. If I see somebody trying to break into my car here, I can legally detain them as a citizen.
Yes.
And hold them for PD to come.
Yes.
You do that in Detroit, you'll go to jail for unlawful detainment. Because there's no citizens arrest.
The Good Samaritan
Act. Good Samaritan Act is...
Over here we have that like on the West Coast, Midwest-ish?
To an extent, yeah, we have a Good Samaritan Act. It's almost countrywide, but the equivalent of doing a citizen's arrest, like let's say for instance, if you're doing something at a casino and the casino wants to press charges, and the Metropolitan Police Department doesn't want to take that person. Mm-hmm. I, as an officer, can fill out something called a citizen arrest packet,
right,
and press charges personally.
Yes.
So the police have to take that person.
Right.
That's not like that over there. So if someone beats the shit out of their wife and comes down covered in blood, and they start gaming, and security tells them to leave, the guy can be like, fuck you, and keep playing. They can only Red Rover around that person and wait for PD to come take them.
Whoa.
The only time they can actively go in and go hands-on with handcuffs is if the person is violently doing a crime, like killing somebody.
Life is in danger.
Yeah, it has to be a dangerous situation. So you have no power to do anything over there.
Nuts,
and Detroit
man.
has the minimum of that, where they can kind of go on to that. But fuck me, dude.
I mean, at one point they had damn near the highest crime rate in the country.
They between that and Chicago.
Obviously, in certain parts. I'm
but
sure
see,
it's not all
this is the thing.
Detroit.
Everybody's made a joke about it when I went out to Detroit. Don't get shot, don't get robbed. Dude, it was nice.
Right.
It wasn't like they were treating us any differently because we were coming from. Well, I'm not going to go into detail what I do, but with my department, I get a little more pull because I'm ranked higher than most people.
Right.
But even going around to civilians, they were super fucking friendly.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm sure it's not all Detroit.
It's not all Detroit.
Like Vegas, it's certain areas.
Certain areas. Like, I'm not going to tell. I'll tell somebody, like, you can go anywhere in Vegas and not really have to worry about getting robbed. Just don't go to North Las Vegas.
Right.
Or maybe Far East.
Don't be on the strip this late at night.
But if you stay anything past up the strip, you're good to go.
Right.
So that was kind of how it was. We had an escort that could walk us through, but most of it was just me doing defensive tactics at that property, training new instructors to fight, to teach people how to fight, but then finding out that the laws are just...
Now I got a question. Do you find that people are less inclined to defend themselves than they think they are?
Yeah. You know what? People go in with no... It sucks. The amount of stuff I know about Nevada law and about other stuff based off of just my job.
Oh, yeah.
I feel I have more of a restriction because I know what would happen to me if I tried to defend myself. Someone comes into this house and attacks you. It's weird what you can and can't do.
Right.
Like, if you attack them with your hand, you're fine, but if you pull out a weapon, it's considered assault against them.
Yeah, no, if they're
even
in your house...
Even if they're in your house trying to kill you.
If they're in your house and their back is turned, like they're trying to leave, you shoot them,
yes.
you can go to jail.
You can go to jail for that.
Because they're trying to leave the premises. Motherfucker, you're in my house.
You came into my house.
It's so weird.
So, as people that are non-knowledgeable with that stuff, they go in there with just the fucking mentality that they can do what they want.
Right.
So you get civilians that come into these casinos and just know they can do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you're in private property in Nevada... You can't do that.
Right.
You come in, I can do whatever I want because I'm a guest. Like, no, it's private property. If I don't like your fucking shoes, I can throw you out.
Yeah.
But you can't do that in Detroit.
Yeah.
And their casino is different to where it's kind of like Circa and Resort World is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be 21 to get in there. So if you go in, they have a little box. Even for me, when I was in my uniform, you have to drop your driver's license in there, and it has to scan your information.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they can legally check your bags. You walk in, if I have a backpack on my shoulder and I had it every day because I had my work laptop in there, they would stop me to look inside my bag.
That's
You can't do that here.
No, you have to have a PI license.
Yeah,
a private
exactly.
License.
We're not TSA. So if a guest comes in the hotel and wants to walk across the casino with their backpack, they could.
Which, mind you, an airport is private property.
Yes.
That's why TSA can do what they do.
Yes, but we can't.
Because when I was doing security, you had to have a private investigator's license to
search somebody's
searching bags.
They'll ask you
purses.
too, like, I need to look in your bag.
Yeah. You can't say shit.
Yeah, you can't say shit.
Oh, that's nuts.
It's weird. So, I trained Detroit officers and then Northfield Park officers. Northfield Park is also in Detroit, but it's a racetrack.
Oh, nice.
And a casino. It's not an actual hotel.
Like for horses?
For
or
horses.
like cars?
For horses.
Oh, that's cool.
For horses.
I've always wanted to go to those.
When they came in, these officers it was all the managers, mind you. It was a day shift manager, a swing shift manager, graveyard manager, and the training manager. And they were all cool guys. All friendly, really fun guys. I didn't even know their managers until the end of this. So I was treating them like officers. And their rules were different because we have to teach them how to use handcuffs to put people in restraints. Yeah. They don't carry handcuffs on property.
Whoa, wait, what? So you go to the store and buy your own? Like
No, legally you can't because in that part of Detroit, it's illegal for a private citizen to carry handcuffs. So if you put someone in restraints, you're in trouble. But then they have teaching people to put people in restraints with handcuffs based off of Nevada laws.
Right.
So right now, going forward, and I'll go into... Yeah. I am not getting pushed to travel anywhere until they can find out what laws are what. Because I told them when I went there, I was like, you sent us there to train these people, and they can't even do what it is that we can do.
Hello?
We're here in National Harbor, the next place I'm supposed to go to, which is in Washington. Mm-hmm. They're considered peacekeepers, meaning they can do whatever they want.
Yeah?
Yeah. We're whatever. Like,
you
I'm
call
telling
me a peacekeeper, dude?
I was just about to say, you got a Judge Dredd thing. You can do whatever you want as an officer out there. You have so much power. So being a peacekeeper, they don't need law enforcement for anything.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not what's Washington. I'm trying to remember how the United States looks. Because Washington's
north.
This is Washington across almost near Maine.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about on the East Coast.
Yeah, I didn't know. In my mind, I'm thinking, I forget that's over there.
Yeah,
so
okay, you're on the East Coast again.
So they're peacekeepers over there.
Oh, okay.
So
That's such a change.
It's a huge difference.
That's such a
so going, trying to find out what the laws are, long story short, dealing with that over there. Detroit, their things were different. They said that they're going to get issued handcuffs now because they can piece it with the state showing that they got properly trained.
How do you not know these things before you send people out
They
to
set
train?
us up for failure, man. Like I said, I don't want to shit on my management team, but I told them the same thing. I was like, you guys sent us out here with no kind of guidelines, and I kind of, good luck. I had a guy that worked with me that did fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was like my go-to guy with everything, and it was just me and him. So when we were going there, we had to kind of like just keep
learn on the fly,
and try to be adaptive to everything that changed. So that was the hard part, but everything was still really good. They treated us really well. Food was good. We got comp tickets to see a Red Wings hockey game.
Oh,
which
nice.
was fun. And then we went to Mississippi. And then we went to
the bayou.
It was the deep.
We went down south.
Deep south. I have little patience, but I can be patient when it comes to teaching.
Right.
I can be patient with people that deserve my patience. We landed there after a week. We flew Saturday, landed there flew Sunday, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, flew Saturday, landed there Saturday, right after I worked a week straight, and then I was off Sunday. By Sunday, I wanted to go home.
Oof.
The people were so just fucking rude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we went to IHOP, they treated us like shit. They didn't even want to, serve us to order us food. When the server came up, he wouldn't even get the eye contact. He was talking to us, he's like, all right, what do you want?
Yeah.
And just looking up at the sky. And he said it just like that. What do you want? I'm like, food? He goes, I'm aware of that. What are you trying to order?
Oh, yeah.
And that's normal for them.
Be a little racist.
The order was wrong. And this is the thing. It's like, it can't really discriminate based off of, because it was all black people. A lot of them. It's Mississippi. Is all. And they were all shitty.
You're mixed.
And even with me being mixed, it was hard.
Yeah.
You either had the white people that were missing all their teeth, or the black people that would just, buy you. If you have all your teeth, you're not welcome there. Everything in there. In Tunica, Mississippi, is the fucking armpit of the United States. It was just so rough because everybody was just rude. They were all miserable, and you can tell they were miserable because you can just see that there's nothing to do out there. All the houses are destroyed. If you were to go, I'd have to show you pictures. If you were to go...
Just run down?
There's not even houses here in Vegas that look like this. They are run down to where they're so run down that the environment starts to take over it. You can see trees...
Oh, nature's reclaiming
that part of it. So you're getting how your house would be, but then this tree in your backyard covered the entire back of the house to where the vines were coming through the side.
Oh.
All the houses are like that out there because they're all worn to shit, and they're just not remade and remodeled.
Right.
So because it's swampland for the most part. So that was in town close to where Memphis was, where we landed. You drive to Tunica. The way that the resort is built, it's built on a river boat.
Boat? River boat?
I don't know how to explain it. So you know what a barge is? Yeah. A barge is what... So in Mississippi law, you can't legally game in that state.
Yeah.
So in order to do it, the only way you can game is if it's not on Mississippi. Well, the water isn't considered
right because of the way it flows.
So they built these casinos 30 miles away from everything. Mind you, you can go from one end of town to another in Vegas in 25 miles.
Yeah.
So 40 minutes of a drive. It's a 40-minute drive to nothing, to where there's just, it's called Tunica Resorts, and it's just flat land, just desert. Or not desert, but just swampland for miles, and then you've got one casino, and then another casino. On the backside is the Mississippi River. So they built a barge underneath it, filled water up underneath the casino, and then closed the barge off. So it's technically on water. And that's all you got.
Okay.
So when you're out there, it's just like the people that are coming. I'm like, I don't know how they make money, because it's like saying if I wanted to go watch a movie, I have to drive no matter what every single time to
like Mount Charleston
to do something. That's how far it is. And there's nothing else besides your house in Mount Charleston. It's just for miles. So
I don't know why people live out. I mean, I get it.
I didn't understand it. And even the house is nearby. Like you said, it's a 30-40 minute drive from where you're at. Mm-hmm. But there's people there all night just gambling through. The pits are weird. The gaming's weird. Their laws are still the same thing, minimal to nothing. You can't do shit. But they have fights. They have domestics. I was looking through their eye track, and they had a lot of shit. But they do anything. Because
people ain't got shit to do.
No. And they're thinking because you're way the fuck out there. But then every single casino that we tried to go through out there, they were all just garbage. I felt like shit throughout the entire week because I do eat relatively clean to an extent. Yeah. But, you know, if you're hungry, where are you going to go from here?
I mean, shit, I got like 5 or 6 spots I can hit.
Anywhere.
At a moment's notice.
Yeah. There, your option is to eat at the casino next door to it, which is called the Horseshoe. And the Horseshoe is owned by Caesars. And even the Horseshoe, the food is not good. And then if you want to eat anywhere else, you have to drive 40 minutes out. So if you don't plan your meals before and there's nowhere to cook, you're not eating.
DoorDash must be a nightmare.
They won't deliver. We got a rental because Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash and Uber Eats doesn't come out there. You're not getting anything, man.
Fuck out of Dodge.
You're out there. No driver is picking up McDonald's and then driving 45 minutes to drop you off. Yeah. That's why towards the end of it, I was like, this fucking sucks, dude. My boss even told us when we came back, she's like, you won't have to go out there ever again. But Rivage, Mississippi, the other team that came over to train with Gold Strike officers, they were like, this place is fucking horrible. It's like, next time come to the Bow and we'll take care of you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I'm like, well, thank you, because we're not
coming back.
We're not coming back here. Yeah, long story short, when I got back home, I told myself, I was like, I don't want to. It didn't ruin traveling for me, but Detroit was fantastic. Yeah. Mississippi was just rough.
It wasn't a good experience.
And not knowing the laws and how things can and can't be run it just reminds me why I'm here in Nevada, because I do, at one point in my life, I want to move.
Yeah, we will.
But eventually, seeing how things are out on the East Coast, I wouldn't know where to fucking move.
I refuse to move to the East Coast. I refuse. I have to stay West Coast.
It's got to be West Coast.
I have to. Or
I'm not trying to do the whole East versus West or Biggie versus Tupac. It's just kind of like it's just like I came from Ohio, right, which is East Coast, but I grew up there as a kid. So yes, I have more tangents. I wouldn't send you out to Ohio because you wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
Well, it sounds like the further east you go, and I don't want to say it like this, but it sounds like the more old and like
it's older
boring
time.
Things can be.
Things in the East feel like time passed it and forgot about it.
Yeah.
Because everything seems, even in Ohio.
It's all rusted.
From my small time, Orville, there's buildings that are still made with brick.
Yeah.
And they've never changed.
Yeah, very Victorian houses and stuff.
And it was the same thing in Detroit.
And they're like 100, 200-year-old.
In Detroit, when we went to the Little Caesar Stadium, which is where they had the hockey game, I'm talking right next to the stadium, there's a giant Victorian building. It's like a castle, like the old cartoon gargoyles.
Yes.
Like it's a watchtower, like gargoyles should be dropping by, and they've got
stone,
like stone pillars and stuff like that.
Yes.
They're all like
That's
that
weird,
in
dude.
Detroit. And the same thing with Mississippi. They're just... Time forgot about it, so nothing is up to date. So when you go there, if you have any kind of, I don't mean to be rude, but not like smartness, but like just if you're not modernized, and you've lived there, and that's what they were saying with the Mississippi people. It's like, a lot of these people have families that grew up here, die here, grow up here, die here.
Oh yeah.
So they're used to things being shitty.
Yeah.
So that's normal for them.
Right.
You're coming from the West Coast where things are more modernized, where things are constantly changing and moving, to where you expect good service because that's what you're used to.
Right.
They're like, shit, service is just normal.
And that's what's weird for me wanting to travel. Obviously, I will tour the East Coast. I want to travel to Maine. I heard they have really good seafood. Mm-hmm. Love to go down there. I don't know about Florida. I've heard some weird shit about Florida.
You know what? Because my mother lives out in Daytona, and she swears up and down it's like one of the best.
Right. I mean, I would go there.
My brother said the same thing, that Daytona was good. Just don't go to Miami. But you know what I was seeing, and one thing I do want to do in my lifetime, which I will do. I'm a bucket list person. You know me. I fucking do. I've done 100 different things, and I will do more than I can, especially when I get to the point where I have the money to do it. I want to go to Dubai. Dubai, from what I've heard, Dubai is Miami without the crime. Because you have to have money to live in Dubai.
Because, bro, you're talking like $100,000 a night, millions of dollars a night.
But see, there's a lot of people that I see. You know, you get fucking influencers and shit like that. YouTube, you make money.
They get comped.
Yeah. There's a guy that I follow that he's not comped.
They make money.
He has money to live out there, and he said you can go to Dubai, start fresh, and be able to survive at a good rate, and you don't have to worry about crime because Dubai is a place of business. Yeah. Everything's up to date and looks fancy because people have money.
Right.
So if you go out there, you can visit there on a passport for 2 weeks and not break the bank. Yeah. People think that travel is just so priced that you can't afford anything, but you have to also realize that the cost of living is different. So what I have here is more than what I have over there. So if I save $1,000, I could go over there and it would be $2,000.
Oh, because the currency. The exchange.
Exchange. Okay. So if I go to everybody said, one of the guys told me he went to Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
you can live like a fucking king.
$100 is $1,000.
Yes.
So $500, $5,000.
Yeah, you can live like a king for little to nothing.
You just need to plan where you're going and know that your currency equals out more.
Yes. And do your research.
Do your research, know where you're going, make sure that you're trained and everything like.
So, since we're on the topic of the East Coast, we got to talk about the New York subway thingy. Yeah. Sorry, we're going to come back down for a second. Sorry. So, the long and short of it, because you guys know we don't like to dwell on stuff, not to mention the trillion other channels have gone into much further detail.
It's just kind of scratching that in case people haven't heard more or less, but I'll let you go.
It's for us to stay up to date, because a lot of this stuff, like for me, I was one of those people, I bury my hand in the sand. I already know how stuff is going to turn out, so I'd just rather not listen. But with doing this podcast and working with Lynn and everything, it's nice to at least be like, okay, this is what's going on.
It needs to be aware. It's negative and it's exhausting. You know, I have more days not where I feel like I'm not physically tired, I'm just mentally drained.
Yes.
And it's because I'm so up to date with everything that's happening. Towards somebody, I don't know if it's Joe Rogan or not, but our brains have a CPU amount of how much data we can store.
Yes.
And I don't know how to refresh and get rid of the cache. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm taking on too much.
Your brain's a supercomputer.
With this stuff, it's like, do I keep it because I know it's important, or do I just toss it aside? Because like you said, I would love to just have my head in the sand and just say, fuck it, because it's not here.
Yeah.
But God forbid a year comes from now, and I'm looking around like, what's happening? Why is it so bad?
And that's
because I wasn't paying attention.
I was watching somebody's short. It's not really relevant. They were making a video. And they were like, how do you feel about the situation in Ukraine? Mm-hmm. And this girl was like, oh, yada, 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 I feel so bad, blah, 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 God bless. And he was like, but what's the difference from people dying anywhere else around the world any other day? Mm-hmm. They're like, the only reason you feel so inclined to Ukraine and Russia,
because it's being put in front of your face.
That's what's on news.
Yeah, it's in
That's
the
what's
news.
on your social media.
Yeah, it's social media.
They don't tell you about, the killings in Africa. Mm-hmm. They don't tell you about the shit that goes on the East Coast. They don't talk about China. Mm-hmm. We don't talk about Russia. We don't talk about Bruno. Mm-hmm. No. It's just, we're not allowed to put this information out there to an extent, but we're only given what's kind of readily accessible. Mm-hmm. And it really hit me in such a way because I was like, damn, he's right. Like, I feel bad about the people in Ukraine, but this shit's been going on over there for decades, for centuries, generations. Mm-hmm. These people are used to this. That's why they were so quick to move. Mm-hmm. As soon as they even saw Russia posting up around the porch, they're like, no, we know this is going down. Wow. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, but getting back to the New York subway situation, it was terrible. Thankfully, nobody died.
Are you sure?
from what I read in the story, it's a 23 injured. I didn't read anything about anybody
dying. I saw
died.
the 23 injured. I don't know if anybody died. I just know.
I heard there were some people in critical condition.
Yeah, because I saw little clips of it, and the guy bought fireworks.
Yes.
Had a machete, had a 9mm.
Right. Now, mind you, from what the reports
like
say, this dude is 62 years old.
But did you see some of the videos he was posting before?
Yeah, I heard it was
there was
real
videos
bad
of
shit.
just him talking a bunch of crazy shit to himself, and it was him driving, because I don't know if he was a truck driver or what, but he was driving from point to point, and would just vlog shit.
Right.
And saying, this is why certain people need to die, and this is why things need to be this way. It's pretty much the extent, and not to be wary of mental degeneration with age, but like I was mentioning with the CPU thing, your brain can only take so much for so long. And when you get to a point where you've just exhausted your ability to be normal, you start to spin crazy ass webs.
To an extent,
like that.
but no, I think it's far worse than that. I think for a lot of these people, they've been fucked up for a long time. They just never followed through with a lot of the shit. It's always just been a talk. Like you remember, we went to school with kids in high school, talked about shooting up the place, bombing the place, cutting themselves, committing suicide. We heard it all. Yeah. Growing up. So in my mind, it's like, dude, you've been like this since you were a teenager, since you were young.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, we don't find out about a lot of these psychopathic people. They don't do a deep dive until after the event has happened, until after situations happen. And it's not that I don't want anybody to empathize or have sympathy for this person, but a lot of these people are mentally fucked off. Yeah. And the way the media wraps it, they want you to treat them like a serial killer, like Batman, Joker. They're like bad guy. And then you find out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years later, it's like, oh, well, this person had all this emotional trauma. They had physical abuse. All this stuff culminating throughout their life up until that moment. You know what I mean? It was like they just had one bad day. They just made one bad decision. Right. Type situation. Right. It's not like, we're talking about like a cult where this person, their intention was to take advantage of people.
Which makes sense, yeah.
So
I agree.
It's kind of that's why I'm kind of emotionally exhausted, because it's like I try to see things from both sides. Yes, you're a bad person for the action you committed. You should be punished for your actions. But at the same time, I also ask the question, well, what led up to this? Who were you before you were this person? Right. And so it's unfortunate. New York gets hit. They've been hit a lot. Obviously with the Twin Towers, and then we had the marathon bombing a little while ago, and now
wasn't there one? I don't know if it was in New York or not, where the guy drove through the parade. It was just a couple months ago.
I know it was
Thanksgiving parade.
Christmas. Oh no, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Was that New York as well?
I don't remember.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was something in that vicinity.
New York's been getting hit with a lot of shit,
just
and so
East Coast in general, more or less.
Be safe, guys. That's all you can really do. You know what I mean? Be safe. Be aware of your surroundings. You can't help the fact that this is your day-to-day routine. Right. Everybody catches the subway in New York at some point in time.
You kind of have
Everybody catches
People
the
don't
subway.
own cars in New York just because it's not unrealistic.
It's just like Vegas. You don't ride your bike everywhere. You have a car or you ride the bus. We don't have subways, but it's that situation where at any given moment, if somebody decides to stick their gun out the window because you didn't signal when you went to get over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's kind of like trying to deal with the whole active shooter thing, like been across it, being with 1 October and a bunch of other spots, but even somebody was telling me right before that there was a, I don't know if Virginia Tech or it was Columbia or something like that. There was a shooting that just happened like yesterday. Oh. And it's more or less people have the tantrum they want to throw this feeling out there where they're like, this is what we need to do to stop this, and this is why this is always happening. They act proactively after the fact.
Well, they're reactive.
Instead
of being proactive.
It's a reactionary response every single time, and then the next trauma comes, and they forget about it.
It's like we wait for it.
Yeah, they forget about it, they deal with the next thing, and then something happens again that's similar, and like, well, this is why we need to fix it.
Oh my God!
Yes, exactly. So it's more or less like you said, it's the new thing that there's always going to be difficulty. My thing out to everybody who is listening is, be aware of what it is that's going on, but don't always emotionally act on it just because things are going to change. It's not always going to be, we're going to forget about this a year from now.
Don't walk around here a paranoid, schizophrenic freak, worried that, the tree blew sideways, so there must be a sniper in there or something, type stuff. It's working security made me, I went through like phases where I for a hot minute.
Dude, who are you telling?
Still
doing it.
And then I kind of came around and I numbed myself to it, but then it was like, I felt like I was constantly always seeing the dark side of everybody.
I definitely add this up to security, even though I've been told not to, but security made me very pessimistic.
It does.
Because I notice I'm always I tell them, like, I'm just being real.
Because it's all you deal with.
I'm being real with what's happening.
Nobody comes to Vegas and is like, oh, I want to find the first security guard
I'll be with somebody and I'll intuitively see that something's going to happen, like, oh, this person's going to faint, or this fight's about to happen, or this person's going to act a certain way, and they'll be like, why are you being so negative? I was like, watch. And in my head, I'll count 3, 2, 1, and then the fucking fight breaks out, and they're like, well, how'd you know? I was like, I fucking know. Like, well, now you're being negative. I was like, I'm not. I'm showing you off of base, like, details of things that I've come across.
Yes.
This is always going to happen.
Yes.
But do I share that with people, and then people think negatively of me? Right. Or do I keep it to myself and then just look miserable all the time?
Because it's a heavy weight to bear. No, we're not Metro Police. I'm not SWAT. I'm not military, not Marines, but being security, as we talked about before, we're the first line of defense.
Mm-hmm. You're a first responder.
So a lot of times you're the first point of contact for that person and or situation, depending on what's going on.
It's true.
And like Lynn has dealt, I've dealt with, like I talked about before, prostitute shooting her pimp in the head. Dude's on the ground having a seizure. My boys are chasing the freaking prostitute. Me and my other supervisor, we're there trying to kind of keep this guy conscious because he's just in and out. I've dealt with stabbings. I've dealt with gang violence. I've dealt with, everything that I never thought, almost like the shit you think it was only on TV.
Yeah.
You see it like we watch Cops. We grew up watching Cops. And you're like, oh, they just do that for the cameras. No, this shit is real.
100%.
By the way, I did end up on an episode of Cops. It wasn't like they were on me. They just happened to be on my property. And I was off in the corner. I look like Carl Winslow. If you happen to catch it. But it kind of creates this wall where you're like, look, I just met you, but I'm already kind of assessing what's the worst thing you can do. Can I handle you?
Yes.
How can I take you down if I need to?
You start to dissect individuals based off of like a persona thing. Like it's like having spider senses.
Like a profile.
The minute I come in, I profile.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like that. I hate being like that.
But 9 times out of 10.
I'm so exhausted all the time, and I know it's because my brain is just running on RPMs because I feel like if I don't dissect something before I get in there, shit's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And like you said, 9 out of 10, it's like, I'd rather just be wrong and know I can stop doing this, but then I end up being right every single time, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, But then people look at me, I don't know, man. It's just, it goes into this...
It's a vicious circle.
It's a vicious circle, and trying to compare it to people that aren't like how mean you are, how we're just used to being like that or being around it. You can't explain it to a civilian on what it is to be in war. Not that we've been in war, but...
You kind of can get PTSD
exactly.
from this
It becomes a PTSD thing. It becomes how do I deal with my day-to-day life outside of this? If I ever got out of doing security, I don't know if I could go into a normal job. Because I would treat it completely...
I'm not going to lie. Now that I do call center work, I do miss the physical activity of doing security.
Right.
Because like my last security job before I went to Hakkasan, I was at Town Square.
I remember that.
I just got bike trained. I was up and down the parking garages, zipping, doing my button runs because they're they just have a bunch of department stores.
Yeah.
Going in the back system or the back ways. The restaurants closing down. They're chucking us food for dinner because they
Town Square was nice.
It was cool.
Those kind of securities.
But we didn't get paid anything.
No.
And I didn't want to. Even still to this day, Yes, I talked about how I want a gun, but it's more for, like, just to have it.
Yeah.
I don't actually want to use it. And even then, I didn't want to feel like I was going to be that person to end somebody's life. I didn't want to go that far.
My thing is to that is, like, not to bring religion into this, but if you come across a situation where there is somebody that's brings a gun out to a store or something like that, and they're willing they're freaking the fuck out, and they decide they just want to start killing people in there.
Yeah.
You become that point of contact with that firearm, and you have to end that person's life.
Right.
Don't you feel like you were put there for a reason?
To an extent, yes.
That feels like, for me, and I always make a joke about this with some people, it's like I always feel like I'm waiting for that call.
Yeah.
That bat signal, like a bomb going off at the other side of the building, and then my head...
Just the one.
Yeah, there's a countdown before something's going to happen, and something tells me, like, you have to get over there and stop it.
Yes, be ready.
Or the nuke will go off, and then I'm like, challenge accepted. And it's like, and in my head, I'm just like, okay, it's go time. I can trigger that, and that makes me feel like what I'm doing now is to constantly be physically ready, mentally ready, is because I need to prepare for worst case scenarios. Because we're wolves. We're wolves, and we're surrounded by sheep.
Well,
and sheep are fucking naive.
That's where I was blessed working security, like you said, religious, because I've gotten in a lot of conflicts. I've had to fight a lot of people, cops, Marines, Army, Air Force, not SWAT, thank God, but like just police from like California. I've had to fight old men. I've had to fight women. I've fought everybody but a 5-year-old child, and even then I might have to go hands on with you and I'll cuff you, little bastard. And so it helps develop your perspective of things because we initially went in with rose-colored glasses. Mm-hmm. You know, we grew up, our lives have been very chill for the most part. We've been through some shenanigans, but it hasn't been a day-to-day routine.
Yeah, and that was it. I feel like growing up, you know, I was in management at a very, very young age, for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then going into security, like the management part of me, that pushed me to be more proactive, but I was never mentally in a mindset where I felt like I was in danger.
Yeah.
And now it's like going into security, seeing how the whole city runs based off of casinos.
Right.
It just changed everything. It's like, okay, well now I'm like constantly aware, constantly worried, constantly thinking this.
Yes.
Is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? Do I need to do this? I need to act on this because if I don't do it, who's going to do it?
Well, and it almost scarily, and I'm glad it's not, it almost makes sense where in some countries where you hit, 18, you go to the military.
You know,
like
sorry,
Israel.
Side note, did you know, so you know who BTS is?
Yeah, the Korean?
Korean K-pop.
Yeah, K-pop.
So they're here in town, right?
Oh.
And the whole, I don't expect you to know because you don't ever go over on this side of town.
No.
So all of Vegas has been shut down over the weekend.
What?
I did not know how popular these people were.
Oh, yeah.
I had no...
Millions.
Fucking,
these people are savage.
They sold out Allegiant for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
They've been staying inside Mandalay Bay, so I have people that have been talking to me about it, saying, like, you know, you can't have cameras in there. There's no phones. There's no females that can be there. No female officers. If you're caught with your phone in the hallway, they fired one of the officers on the spot for trying to record the guys when they're walking by, and they're like, we want him gone. Mm-hmm. They're so popular. And they bring in such a high fan base, it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
What's crazy about this is what I was told, what was it, yesterday? The members of BTS, because they're from Korea, when they're done here, they have to go back to Korea to be in the military. It's mandatory.
It's mandatory. Once you turn 18.
All males have to be that.
Yes.
And after the age of 30, they can no longer be in the band.
Yes.
Because they only want young males.
It's like those girl K-pop bands.
I mean,
they didn't go to the military, but it was like you after so
certain
old.
Age, they push you out. Opposed to now, it's like you can have fucking Backstreet.
We tried it out here with the Cheetah Girls and all that shit.
Yeah, but it's still an ability where they have the right to do it. I guess in Korea, you just can't.
Yes.
Like even when it comes to them trying to make contracts for some of this stuff, it's
no.
like. Now, my thing is, what would you want to do? Would you want to be popular and famous for a couple years?
Live fast, die hard.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, you know, it all equals out to nothing because you don't even get royalties. When you're out at 30, you're out. That's just, they don't give you anything else.
I wouldn't want that lifestyle. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to lie. Who wouldn't want that lifestyle for a hot minute? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're literally, like I said, if they're this popular in the United States...
Just to know what that feels like.
I can only
to
imagine.
Walk outside, you know, walk into a store.
Dude, it's
be recognized.
Crazy.
Everything I want is free.
They're shutting down Hacienda. Like, I left because I had to go drop off equipment for Bike Academy I have to do next week. And I had to go from my property over to MGM Grand.
Yeah.
And the fucking strip was just
it's
chaos. And I was like,
garbage.
dude, what the fuck? And then I got reminded that they got shut down because of this one concert.
Yes.
And there's hundreds of concerts that go to the
because
strip.
we've never had that life.
No.
You know what I mean? We were semi-popular in high school. People knew who we were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it wasn't one of those things where if I walk into Louis Vuitton,
and they know
my security's gonna go in before me, clear everybody out, shut down the store. I'm gonna walk in.
That's what they are right now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get treated like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. You know what I mean? The world is clean, Your Highness.
Yeah.
That type for a moment. But I don't want to get disconnected because we did start from the bottom. Now we're here. So I understand. Yeah, that's cool. These guys may be my bodyguards and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when they go home, they have to be normal people. They're not like, oh, I'm a part of K-pop. I'm with them. I'm traveling. No, we're using you for the time we're here. After we leave, you become a normal person again.
Yeah, you got to go back to square one and doing the same shit.
You know what I mean? I don't want to lose touch with that sense of reality to the little guy, to middle class America, lower class America. And my phone is going nuts. I think that's
good.
family chat.
We can wrap it up.
I'm glad we've had the experiences we've had that give us that knowledge and wherewithal to actually talk and convey that to people. But it's one of those things of when you deal with, and that's kind of one of the reasons I kind of broke off into this kind of side topic, when you deal with a shooting, you know what I mean? When you're involved in that, it changes your life forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being a security guard is the same way. You're right place, right time. But for us, it's wrong place, wrong time. All the time.
All the time.
You know what I mean? So, but it scars you. It leaves a mark on you. It gives you something to carry with you.
Tarnished.
You know, you got battle scars.
I'm gonna go off of Elden Ring here and call it tarnished.
You know, I feel for these people. I feel for the people out in Ukraine. I even feel for the Russian people because a lot of them are opposed to what Putin is doing.
They don't have a choice. When you put somebody in power
their
like that.
Their economy's going to shit, this and that. There's going to be suffering on both sides.
It's the same thing with how Biden is. Biden's our president, so
you know what I mean?
We put him in office so he gets to choose what we do.
This is what we get to do. So stay informed. Keep your ear to the ground. Never, ever, ever, ever let anybody tell you what you should and should not do, think or should not think, feel, and how you should not feel.
Agreed.
You are an individual. You are unique. You are special. Don't let anybody take that away from you.
Thanks, Mom.
Hey, I love you, son.
Let's wrap this up.
We're going to wrap this up like some Christmas presents. I'm going to hide it in the closet.
Ew.
And then I'm going to give it to you when you're not expecting it.
Step out of the closet.
Go night-night.
Get out of the closet.
Just let it happen.
Ew.
I'm D.
This is Lynn.
Just in case you have not already, which I wish you would have, go ahead and check us out on our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Anchor. Check out our Patreon. Become a patron. Other than that, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. If you would like, we have polls posted on Spotify. We have polls posted on Spotify.
Yeah.
Please fill out our polls. Answer them. Honestly, they're very easy. We're at that point. We're at my favorite part.
Okay, let's do this.
All right. I want everybody to stand up.
Oh, my God. You're putting way too much effort into
I want you to put your hand over your heart.
I'm dying. It's hot in here.
3, 2, 1. Combo breaker. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Keep your head in the clouds.
Keep your feet on the ground, always moving forward.
Project Airwaves signing out. If you made it this far, you did so damn good.
You did real good.
Deuces.
Bye.